afternoon all. We've got a question today that I'm going to quickly answer. A nutrition one, which is what was the most simplest and effective method to lose weight? And I'm going to be a complete bore, and just rather than method, I want to talk system, because all methods, well, not all, lots of methods lead to Rome. Lots of methods lead to results. And it's not the method I want to get dogmatic with. Well, this is the best method to use for everyone, because that'll change on the individual. And as long as there's adherence, most methods will typically work if you've got good data, etc. I want to talk about the systems surrounding that. And so 2 points to this system. One is going to be data acquisition, gathering data, gathering the intel. And the second point is acting off that data, looking at it, seeing what the problem is, seeing what changes need to be, and then acting accordingly. Out of each one of those 2 points, there's a subcategory which will determine how effective you are at each of them. And so for the data acquisition, its subcategory is belief system, which I'll explain. And then for the acting accordingly, that subcategory is conflict. So let's break all of those down. So data acquisition, gathering data for weight loss, is nutrition. What are you eating and what effect is that having on the body? If you're not assessing, you're guessing. So we need to log the food intake, and we also need to log the output. We need to log, any metric that you want to use: body weight, scale weight, body fat percentage. So you're basically measuring input and output. What are you eating? Let's get those foods down visually with some kind of system. So we've got data, and then what's that doing to the body? Are we gaining weight, losing weight, or are we maintaining weight? Now, what is going to determine the accuracy of that data often, or what system or method you use, is the belief system surrounding that. So these days, with the nutrition, because it's so divisive and there's so much confusion out there and there's so much content out there, most people come with a pre-existing position on it. So in an ideal world, I would like clients to come to me prepared to disassemble their belief system or completely wipe the slate clean, so we can really just look at the data coming in objectively and act of it. And what happens if you've got a belief system surrounding that, you could be looking at the data and the numbers and stuff, and you've just got a lens on and you're just looking at that data not as it should be, and you're just pigeonholing it into something. Oh, well, I read that females shouldn't be eating, or we shouldn't be eating that many calories, or we should be doing this, or that's not good for hormones, or whatever it is. And you know, what has been written in textbooks for certain people from the 1970s in different countries at different ages with different training methods doesn't apply to you right here, right now, with all of your attributes and training ages and body type and shape and all this jazz. So we've got to look at that objectively. So belief systems can kind of get in the way, especially when it comes to, when we're gathering data, we need to be super accurate to make the best decisions off it. And it doesn't really matter, as I said, what method here we use actually, because there's lots of methods, but some are better than others. And it doesn't matter whether someone wants to do it holistically and intuitively versus get super nerdy and number crunching about it, because there's a whole span of different methods we can use. But as I said, some are better than others. If you just write words down for logging your data, and I go to a client, what did you have for lunch last week Monday? And you go, last week Monday. Oh, I had chicken and potato. Well, any other, like just chicken and potato. And I had a bit of salad. That tells me absolutely nothing. I mean, like, there's chicken and potato and there's chicken and potato. Like, how much? Oh, I can't remember back to last Monday. I just wrote chicken and potato, so some methods are better than others. You can photograph stuff, so you can go back and actually see quality, quantity, sources on it, the whole shebang. As I said, you can get nerdy with calorie counting apps and macros. There's a whole span of different stuff. But that's what we want to make sure is we're getting the right amount of data and the most accurate data, and that the client can be consistent with logging that data, so we can then riff off that. And often belief system can get in the way. So anyway, that's that section. Next is acting off the data. We need to look at that data objectively, which I've kind of just lent on. So again, belief systems and pre-existing knowledge can get in the way of that. But if we can look at that as well with courage and responsibility to do what's needed, because the subcategory of this is conflict. And what I mean by conflict, that is, and I call this like conscious and subconscious. Consciously, you're like, yeah, I really want to lose weight. We look at the data, but then deep down in your subconscious, you can see what the problem is from the data, but you don't really want to get rid of it because you see the need for it, or you really enjoy doing that thing. Therefore, you don't want to let go of it. And this is, to be fair, this is the biggest problem with everyone on weight loss, because it's quite easy to show people, and most people deep down are aware of what they're doing wrong or where they're stalling. But acting off that, having the courage to do that is the sticking point. So for example, you could fill in anything in here if you know yours, but often it's portion sizes are too big, or they're snacking too much, they drink too much alcohol, they eat too much, they have too many meals. You know, one of the things with the meals is, oh, I don't want to have big heavy meals, therefore I'm just going to kind of graze throughout the day. But then they don't realize how all these little grazing things, it's like going to Yo Sushi and you just get those little plates of sushi, and you go, oh, I haven't been eating much. Before you know it, at the end, all the plates are stacked up here and you would have eaten way more than you would have done on the plate. It's that kind of philosophy. Or you drink too much, you socialize more at the weekends. When you go out with clients or with friends, you go out for big 3-course meals that rack up a lot. One big messy weekend with booze and food can overwrite the entire week. But often there's that yo-yo mentality, which is kind of work hard during the week and eat relatively well, do some exercise, and then play hard at the weekend. Unbeknownst to you, that weekend completely kiboshes the whole week. So all of these things, all one thing, can be the problem. You can notice that problem, but not want to let go of it because you feel you work hard, and therefore you deserve to be able to go out and let your hair down at the weekend. After a shitty day and stressful day at work, you deserve to unwind with chocolate in front of the TV or ice cream or alcohol. And so there's that desire to do that. Plus, subconsciously, they'll be trying to do everything else bar address the elephant in the room. Oh, I got my 10,000 steps up today. Oh, I went for a run this morning. And, you know, that's believing that they're doing enough, where actually they're just skirting around the main issue, which is if you address that, then everything else will fall into place. So that is the main thing. It boils down to those two things: data gathering, acting off it, and then getting a system in place to align your mindset with your goals so that it will rebuke or repel the conflict and make sure that you don't have any erroneous belief systems there. So it's basically aligning all those things. Then you've got the system in place. Then it doesn't really matter what the method is, because you can pick a load of methods, but that system's going to make sure you've got adherence and consistency. And, you know, that's what's really going to matter at the end of the day, because you're logging it with the data and you're making those necessary tweaks as it ebbs and flows through time. If you've got the courage to do that, loads of different methods are going to work.